Hola, bonjour, and hello, everybody! You are listening to Worldwide Tea. It is the one and only podcast that every single week covers every single international season of RuPaul's Drag Race. It's what we do, and you know what? I think we could argue we do it well. And most critically, as always, I am Evan Sadi from Pop Matters.
I'm Gregory Elwood from the playlist, and you can also read me in the LA Times.
And everybody, guess what? We are in it deep right now. This is an odd day because not only are Greg and I recording multiple episodes at once, including our coverage of the Canadian Meet the Queens for the new Canada's Drag Race season that's about to come out, but also we're covering Drag Race España right now too. And because they started at the exact same week, España and UK have been in parallel right now, and it's just a weird coincidence that we have two musical episodes at the same time. So Greg and I had the ability to do a lot of compare and contrast this week because listen, if you have some issue with the quality of certain musicals or Rusicals, listen, Greg and I dealt with two of them this week. So if you've been following the international seasons too, great. If not, oh, so much kickball change and Kiki Ball change, the drag daughter of one of our all-time favorite queens. Yeah, there's just been a
Dorothy
lot
Thor,
going
right?
on. Yeah, Thorgy Thor.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, no, yeah.
exactly. For some reason names have not been working for me today. I don't know why.
No,
But most critically, it's
Evan,
been
of course, first of all, you got no sleep. Fireworks were going off in your neighborhood all
uh-huh.
night long. The
They were.
Dodgers won the World Series. They're going to
Mhm.
bend the knee and go and like fuck to the fucking White House. So, but we're here to talk about drag and not to, judge our friends for being fans of a team that will do that and also use Dodger Stadium for ice. But listen, I'm so excited your Dodgers won. But let's
My
talk about
Dodgers,
Drag Race
my
UK.
Dodgers, your Dodgers. By the way, this randomly came to my mind. You know, it's a great UK drag name, Queer Starmer. Anyway,
Oh, I like that. That's good.
don't ask what's going on in my head right now. Most critically, before we jump into this episode of which we have so much to say, the thing you need to know is that in this House of Love, if for some reason this is your first time here, we believe that all drag is valid and no queen ever deserves online hate. And we are American entertainment journalists, so we may not get every cultural reference, but we always appreciate corrections. And most critically, there are some great queens who simply aren't good at Drag Race, and we love them all the same. I've said that copy so many times at this point that like I just was able to do it full memorization. I didn't have to look at the thing, which I feel
Woo!
great about. I know, shut up. But most critically,
Love
we are
it.
back. We are back. Was this episode 6 now of Drag Race UK season 7?
Yep.
There's no Lavoie to help us out this time. It is just the queens by themselves, and they all come back into the workroom the following day after the elimination of Chai T. Grande. And I felt a little weird too because they all decided to give her a send off. And I know they were trying to say Sawadee-ka, but I heard them all say Sawadee-ka. I didn't hear the full pronunciation, but maybe that's just because they were doing it in group setting. I don't know. That was just my thoughts on it.
My thoughts was, it's sort of ironic this week is a acting challenge in a way because those girls really thought that lip sync last week was fierce. And I am like, that
Bones, you
is some
absolutely killed it. You killed it,
you killed
Bones.
it. You killed it. And that ass. Although listen, Cage and feelings, I have lots of thoughts on Cage and feelings that no one should have. But at least she was honest about like dinging her for walking back and forth on the stage and
Mhm.
somehow winning the
Mhm.
lip sync. But Paige is sort of emotional. She did not think that she should have been low. And I would be too. And she's wondering how they can't see her as a person, which was one of the criticisms, which I do also remember thinking this is sort of insane because
Mhm.
she never should have been low in the first place and she was doing great. But then she took off her wig and she was ready to go.
She was ready.
She
She
was
was
ready.
ready.
She had another wig underneath, and the queens are sort of gagged. And then, by the way, Evan, did we have a moment while they were de-dragging where Paige and Bones went up to each other and talked like they'd been friends who'd known each other for years, and maybe they worked together every week? Like, did they finally realize maybe we can't hide this in the edit anymore? Jesus Christ!
If anyone's following the other season with us, Greg and I have two ongoing jokes right now. One of them is in España when they decided to take the eldest queen that was on the cast and during an acting challenge go over and hug and kiss her and make her feel better, which you would never fucking do in any challenge ever,
Never.
but like, okay, bias. And now it's just like, wait, Paige and Bones are friends? My God. Like they keep trying to fucking hide it like, oh, it's so stupid. But yes, oh my God, Paige and Bones are friends. I never knew. Who could have
Amazing.
predicted?
Who could have? But they de-drag. They're going to go back to their hotels. But we then quickly cut to this week's guest judges, and Graham Norton is back.
Hmm.
Although later on, I found out he might have been suffering from a cold or something. Like it was sort of weird.
Yeah.
And then there is a guest judge named Maz Murray, and I immediately Googled who is Maz Murray. And just for future reference, she is a West End girl. She's done many West End productions. She's not famous, but they got somebody this week. Like, bless.
The guest panel of Drag Race All Stars 10, this is not. So
No.
either way, yes, we're happy here. And honestly, she was actually a fun judge, I'll be honest. Yeah.
She was good, and she gave smart critiques. Was not upset
Yeah.
with her.
Yeah.
But they come in the next day. They're back in the workroom, and the big question that everyone is asking is the romance between Katrin and Tyrus holding them back? What do you think, Evan?
I'm so fucking tired, Greg. I don't care about this fucking plot line at fucking all. At all! I don't. Now, to her credit, Taris takes on a very prominent role in the storyline this week, but for different reasons. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, this Katrin, I really thought it was going to be them in the bottom two because I thought that's the way that they were going to push the edit, in a sense too. Because I feel like the lovers, the you met up
Mhm.
during the thing and the lovers thing, it just happens. We've seen it with Corey King and Lydia Butthole Collins. We've seen it with Brooklyn and Vanjie. Anytime they do it, it's just a setup for it. So if it wasn't this episode, it's going to be a future one, and that's just all I'll say about that.
And also they're not really I feel like they're not showing them flirting or like even like
Right,
talking to each other. It all feels like they talk about it and they admit it, like they admit something's going
right.
on, the two queens, but it's weird like in how it's being like played out. But whatever.
Yeah,
Rue comes in
whatever.
and it's time for Rusical. And this week's Rusical is dun 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 Peter Pansy the Rusical, which is clearly inspired by pantomime musicals in the UK, probably more than we've had in a lot of other previous musicals here. And in a shocking and sort of scary announcement, Rue says that Skrillex is in charge of assigning the roles. I immediately wrote "yikes" in all caps. Um, Evan, any thoughts on that situation? And would you like to explain sort of what went down in terms of the casting of the roles?
So, well, basically, what happens with the casting is that, to her credit, Selects Addiction does a pretty good job, I would say. They go around, they listen to it, and of course, as always, El Vast. I just have the soundtrack that's just full of bangers. It's just banger after banger. It's like, okay, Jesus Christ, I've not met anyone this wow pill coded in a hot goddamn second.
Hmm.
I mean, listen, I'm not listen. R.I.P. But when the Vivian during her Tic Tac launch on UK season one said, "When I listened to What's the Tea with Rue and Michelle, it saved my life," it's like, okay, Jesus Christ. Like, listen, I think she's definitely gassing up the show a little bit, but overall, they kind of easily play into very obvious types. Like some of the roles just feel custom fit for people. Here's going to be the
Hmm.
person who's the eldest. Obviously, Bones wants to stretch and decides to play a horny dog. Like some of these things just kind of naturally come into place. Elle obviously has vocal training. She gets the Wendy part. But as they're talking about this, there's a couple roles. There's the Smee character Smeg. There's of course the Croc Destroyers, the alligator role, which is just going to be basically ensemble. And while they're doing all the casting, it is revealed that Taris has voiced all of her picks and has received none of them because when it comes down to it, she's either going to take Smeg or a Croc Destroyer with her boyfriend Katrin Feelings. And she doesn't get it. Paige, by the way, has to be kind of like spoon-fed to take on the role of the lead, having had previous West End experience, which she can actually talk about. Also, she's friends with Bones. And Taris has also talked about how she's done musical theaters before. So when
Hmm.
she ultimately gets the part that is just basically ensemble, she's kind of in her feelings a bit. And Celexa does the thing I hate most in the world. Are we all 100% happy with it? And Taris voices that she's not. And effectively, what happens is that look, I'm just going to get into it, Greg. Let's just get into it while we're here because it plays out throughout the course of the edit of the
Sure.
episode. Is that she is in her feelings about getting this lesser role for a while, to the point where she almost attributes it to being a microaggression, but says that none of the girls have specifically done anything to her, and she has not used her own voice to kind of stand up for herself in that moment. Because even in that moment when she gets the role of the Croc Destroyer, which Dr. Fartenheimer, whatever the roles that they have for these things are, it is Paige who says, "Well, do you want the fucking lead? I'd be willing to give it up to you." And she says, "No, no, no, it's all good." So later on during the critiques, Rue kind of talks about this too, how like, Rue gives just generic advice about how to treat yourself when you're gay or you're POC or the only person in that room. You have to stand up for yourself, which is true, but like it feels weird. It feels like this very odd storyline that is just kind of forced onto the edit that just doesn't feel comfortable for anyone because there's no aggressor, there's no thing. It's just a matter of Tayrus effectively not sticking up for themselves when they needed to. That's kind of how I feel about how it went down. Greg, do you have any other thoughts kind of beyond that?
I thought it was really interesting. I was sort of taken aback when they were picking the roles. And listen, we're not in the room. Things
Hmm.
can be, you can be sitting next to someone and sense something that maybe isn't captured on camera or on
Hmm.
audio. But I thought Paige was genuinely being like, "Hey, do you want? I'll give this up." It did not
Hmm.
feel forced or faked or passive aggressive on her part. And I'm not saying that as a Paige fan. I would have totally criticized her if she was, playing games. I didn't think it was that at all. But I also feel like Tayrus was in a really weird situation. I feel as though she almost was like stepping one foot outside of the box to criticize the show
Hmm.
justifiably for its how it's handled POC queens, which we've already had a
Hmm.
problem with earlier this season.
And
But
we've
she
already talked about
couldn't,
this season too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she couldn't really step all the way out of the box to do it. So it was sort of like toe dipping, like, hey, I want to talk about this, but I'm also gonna not go all the way because I don't want to burn the entire house down. It
Hmm.
felt a little bit like that, especially when she was on stage talking about how and we've gotten very, very, very ahead of ourselves, but like there's a moment on stage where she's not she says it's not intentional. She did not think Skrillex was being intentional and how she casted it, but that as one of the, I think, is she the only POC queen left? I think she
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
That she did not get the role she wanted and that she should have fought, but she also was like, why would I have to fight harder? And I did not love that Rue was being honest, but she was saying in the context, you know what? Sometimes as a queer or person of color, you have to fight harder. But I was also realizing if this was a US season, she wouldn't have had to.
Right.
This is a inherent thing to the UK
Hmm.
and these producers and all these queens that we've talked about before. And I give Taylor's credit for pushing it to the forefront here in a way that the editors could not hide this. It would have been very hard for them to
Right.
try to like hide this in the episode. But I feel like the discomfort comes from everyone else around her not knowing how to respond to something that they know is super obvious. Meaning like they know the show is this way.
Right.
Maybe I'm
Because
wrong.
look, no, no, no. And the other thing I want to briefly highlight there is that I feel like when it's come to casting other POC queens, you have to think about again, everyone's cast on a reality show, you're going to be fitting a specific type. You're going to be the innocent one, you're going to
Hmm.
be the villain, you're going to be whatever else that they have on here. And previously, when you have Miss Naomi Carter, when you have Caramel, you have people that have interesting storylines on here, but ultimately sometimes they're not always like Black Peppa really felt like you were casting someone who is a groundbreaker and an intellectual, and she won the first challenge and we made her lip sync 4 more times. Like there's certain things that kind of happen with the narrative, and it kind of felt like Taylor's was going to be like, we don't fully know what to do with her drag. Oh, she's in a romance. Let's go ahead and highlight that. And to her credit, because of what she said, she really came out on this episode to me as a much stronger, smarter person than the edit was giving her credit credit for because they really let her breathe in some of the confessionals. She really kind of highlighted the fact that she talked about how she felt like this was kind of a weird microaggression thing, but also did not blame any of the queens for it. It was just a matter of her and her voice. She felt more of that external pressure than it did come from anyone. She handled it well. She talked about it. I do think that during the confessional, when Celexa has to apologize to her about the whole casting thing, like even Taris is like, no, 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 just shut up. It's like I'm aware of what I'm saying. I'm aware of what's happening on here. It's not your fault. Like it just everyone was kind of walking on eggshells on it, and it felt like it could have
Yes.
been a deeper conversation, but like it was just kind of an awkward conversation at the end of the day. That's how I felt about how it landed.
I agree, and I did take it that Skrillex had not thought for a second about how
Right.
like in a minute like she was looking I don't know what other role Taylor I guess Taylor's could have done Peter.
Hmm.
Taylor's also a singer. They could have had fun and cast her as Wendy. They didn't have to stay in
Yeah.
these archetypes, which
Right.
I thought was probably interesting on Skrillex's part, but she may also, I mean, sometimes I really do think the producers are like, hey, really should do this. Like when you pick
Hmm.
this, it's your choice, but you really
They receive the first script, and the winner of the mini
yeah.
challenge has like a little stars next to certain names and roles
Like
or whatnot or
maybe
something.
like
Yeah.
it would really help us out if you did this. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's really the case, but sometimes it just feels that way. But
Hmm.
anyway, without all comes back later on. I mean, I think the writing's
Yeah.
on the wall that this show is not going to let Taris win.
Yeah.
Taris is not going to, even though she's shown to be super talented and
She was
came
top three
back from
last
being
week.
in,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that if she makes top four, that's the win. And I don't
Hmm.
know if even that's happening. But they go to rehearsal, and Michelle Visage is there with I'm gonna get his name wrong. I think it was Jono McNeil. Um, he was the vocal coach. These queens are going to have to be singing and dancing. We find out that Paige was in Kinky Boots. That's where she
Hmm.
first discovered drag. And geez, you start to wonder, did the producers set this episode up for her? Because that would be a nice relief considering the bullshit they put her through. And did they do it in a good or bad way to potentially also send her home? We also find out that Elle can definitely sing. Like
Hmm.
she has a voice, she can totally sing. Um, I wrote Paige can really dance, and Sally cannot.
Yes.
Like, oh boy. Uh, and Sally has, you can tell, see the fear in like a deer in headlights in Sally's eyes that she knew this, she made it this far, this would come and haunt her.
Hmm.
Any thoughts about the rehearsals, and are you worried for your girl, Sally TM? Or was she my girl? I think I was a bigger Sally TM fan than you.
I mean, I like Sally TM. I overall enjoyed her. And that is, I think, the most I could say. Uh, I will say that during the singing part, someone talks about Celexa singing something else. They thought it was interesting. Sally at one point talks about her role and says, "quote This role is kind of a rough dom top type," which is the most amazing thing to say at all at any point. And then during the dance rehearsal, Michelle really highlights Taris and Kitrin and says, "You two were flirting while everyone else was learning their songs." So they really kind of come out to it. They kind of embarrassed
Yeah.
each other. Katrin has just a blushing face on the front of the stage. Uh, and the only other thing I'll say, Bonnie, referencing Sally, says, Sally is like a dancing like a sim, which is, do you get that
Oof.
reference, Greg?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That is not a nice
Yeah.
compliment.
Yeah.
Or it's not a compliment in any way. The only other thing I took away, and I can't remember if this was in the workroom, because there was a very short workroom segment where they're getting
Hmm.
ready to do the performance. And I don't know if it's in a talking head, but Katrin basically says she's really not a singer or a dancer. And like she's not nervous, but she's telling that to the story producers. And I'm sort of like, what do you do? Are you a comedy queen? Like I'm confused on why are you still here? Like
What do
you're
you do successfully?
success. No, I'm serious. Like I literally was like, she's not a runway queen. Like
Right.
she seems boring, like as a talking head. I couldn't I am literally this is why like when all these good queens go home first or early who are like great POC queens, you're like, why is this bland girl here to represent the Welsh, portion of the UK, I guess. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Wales needed a rep, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, Rue comes out And the bottom of this dress is just a mess. Like Rue looks great from like the torso up, but
Hmm.
I know that they've designed these so that they can be she can take off the bottom part and get into sweatpants. But that dress was wild. What did you think of Rue's ensemble?
I thought it was stylish. I thought it was one of the better, her bumblebee black and yellow with a little bit of pop on
Mm-hmm.
there. I thought it was one of the better ones that she'd worn. And again, back and forth. I hate to say it, this is not a common universal truth. I think her hit rate's better than Supreme Deluxe right now. And I
Yeah.
don't love that. I don't love that that's the truth, but it is what it is. So just,
It is what it
being
is.
out there and honest. Yep.
We all can't be Nikki Doll. Our girl Nikki Doll, we all can't. We can't have access to those amazing French fashion designers. But Graham is there. He has a gigantic wine glass filled with water in front of him, which is sort of I'm wondering what's going on. And he does, when he first starts, his voice is a little rough. So I was thinking he might be battling something.
Hmm.
Um, but more importantly, our Peter Pansy musical starts. Evan, what were your thoughts on this highlight of British entertainment?
Yes. Let's put it this way. Paige fucking destroyed the fucking show. Paige was fucking fantastic. Every over exaggeration, every move, every moment. This is a true professional. Absolutely fantastic. Maybe I'm judging on a curve. Maybe I'm just a hater. Elle did what she needed to do. She did exactly what she needed to
Yeah.
do. Bones, if I'm being honest, I love Bones. I thought she was one of the weaker performers this week. I thought
Yes.
I thought she did pretty good, but it's one of those things where it's like I always think about that Trixie and Katya talking about how Candy Muse just doesn't have access to certain parts of her face that allows her to emote the way that some other queens that have more
Mm,
elastic faces might. And I kind of got that with Bone. She was doing a lot of stuff, she was doing a lot of fun stuff, but there was just that little bit of hesitance that was there a little bit, so I was kind of worried about her throughout the whole time. I mean, Celexa I thought did pretty good as Stinkerbell, and overall everyone else was just the Captain Crook and Smeg and Croc Destroyers was just fine. It was like overall, like there was no blowout performance. There was no like absolute that you absolutely fuck this up kind of thing. But like overall, it still felt like it was, like the leads were well cast and it was pretty good for the most part. But what did you think, Mr. Gregory?
I have to say, I thought the song Twink Death was hilarious. Like, I did genuinely laugh many
Yeah.
times, and I thought that was well done. Um, by the way, these songs are from Leland. I don't know who wrote the lyrics, but the music is from Leland.
Hmm.
I thought Paige was great. I thought Elle sang very well, but I thought Elle was doing completely her wheelhouse. I would have been curious if she could have done something else. I did not understand why Skrillex was doing an impersonation of the Vivian for her voice for the fairy character. I thought it was very
Ow.
weird. Yeah. I thought she was pretty good though, so
Hmm.
I thought that was fine. I did not understand the Captain Hook number at all. I
At
started losing the
all.
plot. Like I didn't
Yeah.
understand what was going on with Bonnie and Sally in
I
that
laughed at
number.
Sally, but for the wrong reasons. It
Yes.
was very gothy Ken doll. Uh,
Uh, Also, I think if the producers wanted to, they could have put Bonnie low. There was nothing memorable about what she did.
thank you.
Bonnie is getting a beyond, like, it's a stealth pass, which is blowing my mind. Like, Bonnie could have gone home or been low or lip synced many weeks and keeps
Hmm.
getting safe. It's so weird to me.
She's getting a
Um,
hobbies edit. Yeah.
yeah, she's getting a very big hobby at it. And I thought the Croc Destroyers were fun and fine, and I sort of understand Tyrus's frustration because I know these archetypes in these musicals, Rusicals, we've seen them many times before, and you sort of are fucked over when you're in them because it's hard to stand out. And it's a
Yeah.
great way for, like, as with Corey King, to put you in the bottom so that you can go home. Like it's
Hmm.
very much that. But anyway, I agree with you. I thought page one in L was high. I thought it was pretty obvious afterwards. But back to the runway, Evan. This week's category is Runway Warrior Queens. And what would you like to say about Catron Feelings Ensemble?
Greg, what was the thing that I would say at the start of it? No queen ever deserves online hate, and all drag is valid. But I will say, with that noted, and with that very firmly believed, uh, Katrin Feelings, I don't like her drag. I think that's the end of the day of it. I just don't. And I thought that this fucking Brave, was it Maria from
Yes, that's
Brave,
what it
from Disney
was.
Brave? Like it was exactly what it is. There was nothing unique about it. It was just pure cosplay, or what is it? Because you can't actually dress as the characters at Disney because they would kick you out be for imitating it. So you have to do kind
Yes.
of an inspired by. They call it Disney bounding. This very event felt like a bounding kind of thing. Like, yes, you were Mira from Brave, and what? Like, I'm just bored. I'm sorry. I did not like this Warrior Queen look, especially a lot.
She said she was doing Gwellian, the last Welsh princess, who I do not think is what Brave is based on. I could be wrong.
I got Miria from Brave. I don't care
No, no,
what
no,
she
no.
says.
I agree, but
I know.
I don't think the inspiration for the movie was the same historical character. All I want to say is I have seen the maybe not the wig, but this look on Drag Race UK at least 300 times, and I am over it. I don't want to see it again. I do not like it. I'm over it, like beyond. But I thought the wig was okay. But also, again, she's so uninspired. Um, Up next was page three with some WWE realness. I have to say, she got very lucky. I was expecting the judges to critique the fuck out of her for doing the same silhouette, and I thought it was really good and really well made, but she got a pass, thank God. Um, did you also think the same?
Like I got Tamara Thomas is what I got
Oh
out of
yeah,
this. Like it was just like full like skimpy and like for someone who's like I have other silhouettes, I don't have to do skimpy all the time. Like if she didn't win this week, I this would have been the reason why. And I'm dead
yeah,
serious because it was
agreed.
yes, it is technically warrior, but this is drag closet mama. This was just like it's still a fun look overall. I for a second I thought there was like propellers or like rotator pads within
Hmm.
the shoulders. I thought that would have been even more fun. But like it was fine. It was basic sexy, and I we need to see more from her. Truth be told, that just it was not the week.
I totally agree. Up next was Bones, and she says this look is sort of inspired by Tilda Swinton at the end of Narnia, and I don't remember that. But I did love the look. I thought it was super warrior and cool, and I I thought it was inspired. And again, you know, it was nicely a different silhouette for her. And I
Mhm.
appreciated that. It gave me very it also gave me a little Tina Turner, just a little bit like Mad Max-ish, like, but if it was cold. What did you think?
I thought I was kind of bored with it, to be honest. Like it was given, we've seen looks
Oh,
like this before, but I did think that like the kind of like disco shreds, like the strands of like kind of like reflective fabric there was nice, but it wasn't really emphasized. I just felt like for me there wasn't a real focal point for this, and that was part that was a little bit disappointing. So like good generally, I just was not blown away by it. So yeah.
I thought it was good. I thought it was more than solid, and that it was it was a toot. Tavis is up next, and she describes her look as Black Panther meets Black Panther. So here's the thing, and
Black
by
Panther
Black
meets Black
Panthers,
Panther.
she means
Oh
the
yes, yes, yes,
Black
yes, yes, yeah.
Panther political groups from the late 60s, early 70s, and Black Panther, the
Rum.
movie, the Best Picture nominee, directed by Ryan Coogler.
Mhm.
Um, so. Okay. I love the inspiration. I did like the jaw, uh I don't know what you call it, that was like around her
Like yeah,
jaw.
the Tayerson branded metal jaw piece
Yeah,
that she
jaw
had, like
piece.
it was good. I felt like it could have done better without the branding, but also no, I know that it's
But
important for others, so I
that
get
was
it.
the
Yeah.
most interesting part of the entire look
Thank you.
because
Yes.
and she does get a little criticized for it, like later on, that the Black Panther of it could have just been anything she just pulled out of the drag closet and put some fur stuff sort of on it. I yeah. And she got a spear. Like I it felt a little like rushed. Um, any other thoughts on this?
Where was the drag on this too? Like it's the kind of thing where not to be that basic here, but like
The
she's wearing
hair,
just like a pleated suit, right? And the hair. There's the fur parts that were there, but there was no glitter, there was no glamour. There was
no,
just like it was just kind of like again when they called her out on the judges panel for just kind of being almost like a business or even streetwear kind of look. And like,
yeah.
yeah, legit. Like it just needed that little extra bump or polish to really push it over. And I think would have even helped emphasize her point too of the spectacularness and the power that she was trying to go for. Because otherwise it just felt very staid. So yeah.
You know, I think what's sad about this is that I feel like when you get these sort of prompts, like these are the opportunities to go above and beyond, like to blow it out of the
Mm-hmm.
water, because
Yes.
a warrior theme is something that can be super dragged up, and there's so many different directions you can go to. And instead, we get Bonnie and Clyde in another Celtic warrior look. And I wrote, boot, this is Halloween.
This is
This
bad.
should have put
This is
you in the
bad.
bottom right away, or in low at least. This is bad. This is like off the rack fucking oh my God, what's the Halloween store? Spirit Halloween. Like it's that bad. I was shocked that she wasn't
I
pinged for this.
It was so bad. It was like, again, when you think of like basic ass Dungeon and Dragon drag, like this is what comes up. It was just so boring. It was so bland. And I think that's the worst part is that like Bonnie Ann has consistently not been a very exciting queen to me, even when she's won her challenges, even when she's talking about Thursday. But like it just yeah, it didn't pop for me, and yeah, not a fan.
You know what the biggest insult to this outfit is, Evan? If you were
What?
at a small town comic convention or
Uh-huh.
fantasy convention and someone walked by you in this, you wouldn't even give it as a second look. It's that basic. Like that's
Yeah.
how bad it is.
Yeah.
But less basic and absolutely stunning. Our girl, my girl,
Girl.
Sally TM,
Girl.
as Miss
Girl.
Anne Bonny, the first female pirate in an illustration come to life. How would you describe this beautiful look, Evan?
Oh my God. So it is truly like a color palette pops out. This kind of like white and almost like eggshell kind of color, just
Hmm.
consistent. And then there's just all of these black lines that are hand drawn on there to give it like an illustration come to life, which she says is specifically what the inspiration was. I think she said it's Anne Bonny, the first female pirate that was ever
Yes.
rendered on an illustration. She's trying to bring that to life. So you have this striking beige palette that stands out from everyone else. Just fucking great. Just absolutely incredible. Best look of the night, I would even go as far as to say.
Oh, hands down. The only
Yeah.
one that really like blew it out of the water.
Hmm.
Up next was Skrillex. So this was very confusing. She described this look as a rural, like countryside. That's what rural means. Warrior princess. And I do not understand it. It gives me fantasy warrior princess.
Hmm.
Um, I thought it was, I would love it without the big breasts. I feel like, again, the big breasts are sort of holding her back and sort of ruining looks because they draw your attention away from the rest of the design of the looks. Even a
Hmm.
smaller set of breasts would have been fine. I'm not saying she had to be flat chested for this, but I feel like it really hinders how she appears on stage sometimes. But
Hmm.
I know that's what she loves. She loves that part of her drag. What did you think about this?
I got statue. I didn't get warrior
Ah,
queen out of this. Like the thing is that like yes, the waist thing is very impressive. Yes, I actually really like the decorations and details. I thought the color was good, but it just didn't give warrior. It gave more like, pristine statue than anything else. Maybe
mm.
a statue in tribute to a warrior queen. I just didn't get like queen out of it. Like it was still a good look overall for the most part, but yeah, I it was not a blowout like I think she was thinking it was going to be.
Agreed. And by the way, I love the headpiece. The headpiece
Hmm.
design was fantastic. Also, she tends to have great headpieces. Like that's been
Yeah.
a theme with her. Last but not least, Elbask, as a warrior queen, the Queen of Ireland. The entire outfit is made out of repurposed materials. And here's my take on this.
Hmm.
Up close, when they started zooming in on it, the details were very impressive. Like how that's a
Hmm.
lot of hours and like days to like put all that together. It's also just a corset, like with all this on it. So the praise it got sort of blew me away.
Yeah.
It got praise like you would only get on the curve that fashion gets on Drag Race UK.
Yep.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, they are so in the tank for her. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking about Javi Edit, it's just like, and she's good. I mean, like, I'm not gonna deny. It's like, Margarita Califata with or Spania coverage, like a queen
Hmm.
who, whether I like her or not, she is doing good performance, just unabashedly. It's just like, I'm kind of over. Like, I'm bored with this level of perfection and whatnot. I want to see that struggle. I want to see that realness.
So then we have the critiques, and we should actually say, of course, our two queens who are getting a pass like no other, Katrin and Bonnie and Clyde are both safe. I Katrin make Cat is it Katrin? I always say it wrong. Katrin or Katrin?
Katrin,
Katrin,
yes,
Katrin feelings okay, maybe she was safe. Bonnie in that fucking outfit should have been low. Like wild
absolutely,
to me.
unquestionably, unquestionably. This was favorite. This was bias. I did not like it.
Yeah. So early on in the earlier in this episode, we've sort of gone through the whole Taurus part of what happened on stage, but we should quickly just talk about the reactions they gave to the other queens.
Hmm.
Are you cool with me going through this really quick and then pop it?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Paige, they loved everything she did. Rue said she was really good, and it's the most positive critique she has given Paige the entire time. Bones, Grams was super impressed with her. They all loved her. I did not understand why they loved her that much, but I think they're grading her a little bit on the curve because they've seen that she can't really. They didn't think she could sing or dance, or because of previous stuff in other episodes. Um, we've already talked about Taurus. Sally TM, basically their criticism was, and I 100% saw this, she doesn't have the performance oomph. She's not as skilled as her colleagues. It is what it is. She knew this was coming, probably, but they all love the look. And Rue
Hmm.
makes Sally very emotional, genuinely emotional, by saying she's special and she recognizes her uniqueness, which I
Hmm.
thought was a wonderful thing for Rue to say when she's very well aware that Sally may be going home.
And to her credit, Sally also responds in kind, talking about
Yeah.
how she just barely, she's always been the weird one. She never thought she would make it this far. Now she's on the main stage of Drag Race, and like it's just awesome. She left such a strong impression already on the season, so I'm very happy for her too, even if it's a low week for her.
Um, Skrillex, oh, there, I mean, I don't actually remember what their Skrillex was mostly tied up in the whole Taurus like thing. I don't really remember their criticisms or thoughts on her. Did
Hmm.
they really criticize her? Because I remember she goes in the workroom and thinks she's high and might not be low. Like, it's sort of weird.
For Taurus? No, I mean they talk
Oh
about
no, for
how.
Skrillex, for
Oh, Skrillex, yeah.
Celestia's addiction.
It's mostly high. They also feel like she could also push the performance a little bit more because they felt like it was stuff that they had already seen. They really loved the look. But it really was truly, and I mean this about the critiques. I did not know if she was in the top or the bottom.
And she
Because
was
like
in the, yeah,
she
go
was
ahead, I'm sorry.
technically in the bottom. It was the quickest you're safe we've ever heard, but she was technically in the bottom three. Over Bonnie. Over Bonnie and
And
Katrin.
catching feelings. Like that's
Yeah.
wild. Like
Yeah.
yeah. So Michelle says she loves her voice, says it's dynamic. Both Michelle and Graham love the look. I think Graham says it should be in a museum. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Dude, I maybe you really were sick this week. Also, Ruth says she was amazed at Elle, saying she had no idea she had it in her. And this is from
Hmm.
RuPaul, who says she watches the casting audition tapes for every single queen. And I'm
Hmm.
going to pretty much guarantee that Elle sang on that video. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Um, Back in the workroom, Bonnie thought she should have been in the top. I, Evan,
The
what is
delusion.
happening? The
The
delusion.
drag delusion. She wins one challenge and all of a sudden she thinks she's the hottest goddamn thing.
I
Disappointed.
think the other thing is the conversation when they all the queens come back continues. Tiris is trying to make Skrillex feel better, I believe, saying that it's not about her, and that she is trying to represent um so much on the outside world. Basically, she knows how bad POC queens do on the show. I feel like she just doesn't want to say it in the workroom. Um, but she says there's no bad blood. My other only two takeaways from this is Sally knows she's in the bottom. Thought she didn't try hard enough, and that Bones and Ellie are being genuinely compassionate, trying to make her feel better because I feel like they don't want her to go home,
Right.
which was pretty obvious to me. Um, and then there is a moment where Paige says in a confessional, "Do I think Elle did as much in the musical as much as me?" No, she didn't.
No.
But anyway,
I
any other
agree.
thoughts? I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Any other
Yeah.
thoughts from the workroom?
No, I mean, again, there's the Skrillex Taurus apologies over the
Yeah.
casting thing, which again kind of goes on, but I feel like we kind of already covered the majority of that, so not too worried. But yeah, please reference our thoughts on this and other earlier episodes that we've covered on the season about how the show treats
Yes.
its POC queens.
Oh
Yes.
boy. But
Anyway,
back on the stage, main stage, and we find out that Bones is safe high, which expected. And then in a shock, because I knew the tea, and the tea had not been that there was two winners this episode, and I was very worried. Uh, both Page 3 and El Vosk win the episode. They both
Hmm.
get Peter badges. And I am very relieved because the T had been that L won. And I'm watching this entire episode and I'm like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe they're gonna fuck over a Page like this. And
Yeah.
the T was wrong. Thank fucking God.
Thank God. Thank God.
I love how Elle told all her friends that only she won, and that for months on end, 8 months, nobody knew Paige Elsa
Worldwide
won.
tea, baby. We can spill it here
Worldwide
every
D.
day, every
All
week.
right. So Skrillex again is safe. We both talked about this. We didn't realize where she was going to be. And it is Tayrus versus Sally TM in the bottom. And this is bullshit. Tayrus should not be in the bottom.
At
I
all.
at all. This should be Bonnie or Cajun Feelings, but Sally TM's the only one. And it is a lip sync to what classic song, Evan?
It is Don't Rain on My Parade, but a version I hadn't heard by the late, great Dame of all dames, Shirley Bassey, who, of course, Bond theme mistress,
Yeah.
incredible diva all around. Oh, I actually really love this rendition. This is actually one of the funnest lip syncs that we've had in a hot minute on UK, truth be told.
This was one of the better lip syncs in a long time. Like this
Right?
was really this was
Right?
fun.
Yeah.
Sally showed something that I did not think she had. She was way better than I thought she'd be. And it was closer than I expected. But my take was that Sally sort of blew it at the big moment of the song. Like there's the big climactic
Finish.
moment, and I
Hmm.
feel like Sally didn't know what to do then. And
Hmm.
that's where Tayrus just got ahead of her and sort of stole it back. What did you think?
Same. I love that Terrace also was just doing so much stuff with her nails too. Like she
Yep.
was just always making it a prominent. Like I almost felt like she got to stab herself in the face, but she was walking back, she was walking forward, she was grabbing moment. And I think again, this is kind of a perfect Drag Race song too, because like yes, we've heard this song before, but Shirley Bassey has so many vocal trills and so many just rides, and a drag queen who knows their shit knows when to attack those moments. It really felt like for the most part, Sally was kind of sticking to the bass vocal line, but Tavis was really taking all those little ad libs and just kind of running with them and making them a part of her performance. So from the get, it really felt like she kind of had it there. They both did a good job. In any other week, I thought it might have been like even a double save. Like not that the standards are super high for that in UK, but I thought maybe something was going to happen. Overall, yeah, I think Taylor's absolutely bodied this for the most part.
I do have to say, I think Sally can hold her head up high. She showed that she can lip sync if she has to.
Hmm.
Maybe this wasn't her one moment to do it, but she can perform. She might not be a classical dancer, but she can perform. And Sally, I did not realize you had it in you. I also have to say she had some of the more memorable goodbye lines walking off the stage in a while. She says, "This is the part where I leave," and like before she walked away. And then before she finally left the stage, she goes, "Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you in court." And I thought that was great. And Ruth said she's not kidding, which
She's
was
not kidding.
really. But also the queens, just like on España this week, are
Hmm.
bawling. This is the most emotional they have been over any queen leaving. And I'm like, did you not hear Sally ripping you all in the confessionals? I guess not, but maybe you did once the show aired. What did you
Hmm.
think of Sally TM's goodbye?
It was an absolutely love good goodbye. It just again, as we talked about, there should have been other queens at the bottom. This was not the T. It just again why they want to always push out our weirdo queens. I will never try and
Yeah.
understand, but it just felt like the time at the moment. Did I think she was going to win? Not really, but I think she was showing up a pretty good fight. Absolutely, and I think overall she had a very good run. I would be surprised if this is the last we heard from her in the Wow Presents universe.
Can you imagine Sally TM and Marmalade on the same season?
I now I can, and it's great, and I love it.
I love
It's
that. That
great.
like just the runways would be so great, so incredible. But before we leave, two questions for you,
Hmm.
Evan. First off, are you as afraid about the preview next week for the sexy snatch game? Uh, which I am so afraid is going to be the snatch dating game rescued from the ashes of US All Stars for the UK, because I'm very afraid of this. And then second, who is winning Drag Race UK?
Well, in terms of the first question, bitch, I don't fucking know what's going on with the season. I can't wait to see Elvas win for whatever. It'll be great. Or Katrin or whatever they're gonna do. I'm already over it. But in terms of who is winning the season, listen, in terms of who I want, I'm still, for lack of a better word, I'm still Team Bones with a potential spoiler of Celexa, even though I don't think she's probably gonna make it very far. But with that said, I will be surprised if it's anyone but Elvask at this point. The edit is so clearly, obviously favoring her. I could be pleasantly surprised and wrong, but that's just kind of how it feels like it's going. Same question, but to you.
I think it's between L and Bones. I do think that some of the more positive critiques they've been giving Bones makes me think now that they want her to really make it to the end and they might want her to win. Um, but L is giving them Elf. It feels like they think L is giving them Jinx, like season 5, but she's also not.
She's
So
not.
she's not. So I'm wondering if that will crash and burn it all, but we'll see. But I think it's between those two, and I think everyone else is fucked.
Yep. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
It's still like listen, it's not going to be Drag Race UK season 3. I think we're past the event horizon. It can't possibly be worse than Drag Race UK season 3. But after that, I'm not sure what's going to fall in the rankings. We'll see how it plays out. But right now it's an okay season is how I kind of feeling about it. I'm not sure
And
where
listen,
you're
if you're a Crystal Versace stan, and this is all sacrilege for you for anyone to criticize Drag Race UK season 3, I think you need to look in the mirror. That's all I'm gonna say. Just like
Listen,
your
that
girl who does all the time. Just kidding.
all the
Um,
time, keeping up with
but
the crystals. Yes.
with the crystal, oh, there's so many crystals. You know what? That's what my drag name should be. Crystal. Like we
Yeah.
need more. We need more
Crystal Crystal.
crystal. Crystal,
Yeah.
crystal, crystal. That would be the best drag name. Up next, Crystal, Crystal. Um, all
You got that.
right.
I got Queer Starmer. We're on a good
We're
start.
doing
Okay.
good. Evan, I before we sign off, we need to remind our viewers and listeners to please follow us on YouTube, subscribe, like, write a comment down below. Let us know what you're thinking about this season. Maybe this episode turned you around and you're down for it.
Hmm.
And if you were listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, please write us a review. Please, even just stars. You don't have to write a review, just even stars. And please subscribe. Like you might not listen to every episode, but we hope on your commutes, on your runs, on your when you're at the gym and you don't want to listen to that terrible mix that they're playing over the speakers, you might listen to us instead. So please, any support you give us, we do this for free. We're not making any money. We do it because we love drag and we love drag race. We love these queens. We're doing it for you. So anything you could do back, just a tiny little bit, we'd love.
Teeny tiny. Yeah, and especially again, if you have any merch designs for us, worldwideteapod.bsky.social. We will gladly use them. Most
I
critically,
mean,
listen, we're working through it. A couple episodes in, we got episode 7 next week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you then. Goodbye.